Hello everyone, Aaron Spears here, young adult librarian at the Westlake Porter Public Library. Winter is here, it's January, it's that long stretch where it's going to be a while till spring, so you may as well hunker down with a good book. I am here today with a few young adult new book recommendations. We also have our Winter Library Challenge, the Winter Reading Challenge going over at westlakelibrary.org, so if you're in the ages of 4th grade to, those aren't ages, those are grades, 4th grade till 12th grade, head on over and sign up for the Tweens and Teens Winter Reading Challenge. Every book that you read, you get entered into the grand prize drawing. As much as you can read in January, from January 3rd to 31st, enter everything you got there. The more you read, the more chances you have to win. We also have programs going for the younger ones and for adults out there, 18 plus and below 4th grade. So see westlakelibrary.org for those challenges as well. This is for the young adults, though. We want to go through a few of the new books that are in at the library that you are more than welcome to check out and read, and then count that towards your winter reading challenge. First one up we're going to do is Mind the Gap, Dash and Lily's story. I'll put the picture up here so you can see that while I'm talking about it. This is, again, written by Rachel Cohn and David Levithan. It's the third book in the series. Lily and Dash and Lily got a little bit of a boost this past November, December because Netflix adapted the first book in the series into a TV series, basically. I think it was like an 8-episode series going through all their adventures in the first book there. This one, I like this style of writing because it has, of course, I can't find one right away. Let's get to it here. Each chapter is basically told from a different point of view, which is what they've done throughout the Dash and Lily series. It's also something Rachel Cohn has done on her solo works, like Nick and Nora's Infinite Playlist from a few years ago. It went back and forth in perspective, but also used a lot of like pop culture references in that particular case, a playlist, to show how like people get romantically involved and how you connect with someone over, shared experiences and shared likes within the culture. Plenty of that in Dash and Lily series as well. David Levithan did that a little bit with his Everyday series, although each book was a different perspective. So it's the same idea, which is why it's a great fit as they've been writing through this Dash and Lily series. In this particular one, Mind the Gap actually refers to London and to England. In this one, Dash has been accepted to Oxford University, and Lily stays in New York because her dog walking business is taking off, so she's devoting her time and efforts to that. They are a devoted couple, though, so they're going to try to make this work, even though it's a long-distance relationship. However, Dash breaks the news to Lily that he's going to be staying in London for Christmas and not coming back home. So she's obviously bummed, but makes the decision, I'm going for it. I'm going to go join him in London. Seems like a perfect romantic gesture, but of course, drama and some comedy ensues as things slowly start to spin out of control. The idea of a long-distance relationship then ends up becoming, well, now we're actually together, but it still feels a little distant. So, what will happen when they're sharing the same city through the holidays? The major holidays are, a month past us. But if you want a little bit more holiday magic in your life here in January, grab Mind the Gap from the Dash and Lily series. Next up, we're jumping genres to Cut Off by Adrianne Finlay. This actually, even the tagline on the cover says, "The show is a game, the game is your life." Adrianne Finlay has written another kind of sci-fi mixed with romance, also cloning story called Your One and Only a few years ago. This one, this new one, Cut Off, is kind of in the vein, I would say, of like Marie Lu in that Warcross. If you liked Warcross, I think this would definitely be up your alley. Also has some shades of the Hunger Games going in there. It's in the sci-fi dystopian kind of action with some light romance kind of mixed in as well for good measure in Cut Off. So the hook here is that each contestant in this game Cut Off, they have their own reasons for going in there. They have their own secrets, which, you eventually find out about as you read through the book. They join this new virtual reality show, which is called Cut Off. It places groups of teenagers alone in the wilderness with a simple premise. Whoever lasts the longest without tapping out wins a gigantic cash prize. So that's the incentive to sign up for this crazy reality TV show. New software that they create also allows anybody who's viewing it to be part of the experience. It allows you to touch, to see, to live out, to very much experiential experience of Cut Off, the reality show. So you get it from the perspective of the audience, and you get it from the perspective of the participants. So what happens within the book, what really kicks it into gear, is that tapping out. So when you're like, I'm done with this, I'm tapping out, with the device that each contestant has, it doesn't work anymore, and no one's coming to save them. So now it's like, what happens when you can't call it quits, when you're committed to this, insane reality programming where you have to last longest and there's no out, there's no safety net for you anymore. So This book that Adrianne Finlay has written really focuses in on 4 teenagers, and since there's no escape from it, you have to deal with like your fears, your secrets, your desires, your instincts, what would really happen when you're truly cut off from reality, when no one's coming to help you out. So if you like, sci-fi, mystery, a mix of romance, kind of all converging with high stakes, action, very fast pace, and it's also one of those what's really going on, guessing up until like the very last chapter. Cutoff is definitely the book for you. Next up, we're going to hop over to the mystery genre with You Were Never Here by Kathleen Peacock. This one is definitely the mystery genre. I actually would categorize it almost as a double mystery. We'll get to that in just a second. It also has some hints of the paranormal involved in there. Ideas of friendship, what it means to be a good friend, what it means to be a true friend, what it means to help out a friend when they really, really need it. It operates a lot along those same beats as like a normal thriller would go to, where like every chapter ends and you're like, what's next? It really keeps you reading here. Kathleen Peacock is no stranger to this genre because she did another series previous to this called the Hemlock series, if you've read any of those. Kind of an urban fantasy idea, a little bit more on the fantasy side than the mystery side, but like paranormal, shape-shifting characters, werewolves. Also some romance shuffled in there for good measure as well. So this one, You Were Never Here, I'm saying is a double mystery for reasons which are explained when we kind of go over the basics of the plot here. The main character is Kat. She has not been to her hometown of Montgomery Falls, which is actually a town that her ancestors founded since she was 12 years old. So now it's 5 years later, she's 17, and she's back because Ridley, who was actually her first kiss, has disappeared. So the double mystery comes from, one, why did she leave in the first place, and why is she back 5 years later? So there's the whole like what made her leave mystery. Then you're also, the reason why she returned is there's a mystery. Riley, her first kiss, he has gone missing. He has disappeared, and for the last 3 months now, no one has heard from him, period. He's completely missing. So as both mysteries unfold, you've got, like, again, that's why it's a page turner. As both mysteries unfold, you're just like, wait, and then what happens? And anytime there's a clue revealed, it's either a clue for mystery 1 or for mystery 2. So you've got 2 mysteries all wrapped up in one book. 300 so pages, double mystery going on. And Kathleen is very good at ratcheting up the stakes of both mysteries as they go. So Noah, which is Riley's brother, he's asking Kat for help trying to discover what happened. So Kat then is torn between wanting to learn the truth but protecting the secret about like why she left in the first place and why she and Riley stopped speaking. So as one mystery is slowly revealed, another one is kind of playing out within the mind of Kat, but then also it's spilling out into onto the page for the reader to enjoy as well. So you're getting the inside information on one mystery as it unfolds in Kat's head and what she's willing and not willing to tell anybody else that's around her, but then also the mystery of that they're all actually trying to solve, which no one knows the answer to, including the reader, as they build up to the last basically the last couple of chapters when you find out how it all comes together, and it's a pretty thrilling conclusion, I would say. So that is You Were Never Here, Kathleen Peacock. Highly recommend it if you're into mysteries, because you get kind of basically 2 mysteries in one book for you there. So moving out of the realm of kind of the vaguely paranormal, mystery, sci-fi dystopia, all that stuff, I thought I like a good disaster story. I like a good survival story as well. And this new one we have in Aftershocks by Marisa Reichardt. This one is very much in that genre because, even as you can tell from the cover, we'll put a bigger picture up over here for you to look at. It's a survival story. You have, based even just on the cover alone, it pretty much summarizes the plot of the book. Survival is more than staying alive. You've got what actually is a laundromat up top, and then you've got the crack of an earthquake going through the title of the book right there, and you have the palm trees, the sun. Gives you all you need to know about the location for this one. So this one is focuses in on Ruby, who's a high school student in California. She is devastated, mortified, also just horribly embarrassed when she discovers that her mom is dating her water polo coach. Don't worry, that romance is not the subject of this book. She can't bear the thought of attending practices anymore. She's going to be the subject of rumors, taunts, probably mocked, possibly bullied, all because of her mother's relationship. So she's pissed off, she's agitated. she decides that she's going to skip water polo practice and she's going to head to the local laundromat to see if she can get any stranger there that's old enough to buy her some beer. She just wants to drink some beer and wallow in her pity and, oh, this is horrible. My world is ending. Well, shortly after she starts talking to somebody at the laundromat, I think it's like a 7 point something, a huge earthquake hits, and the walls of the laundromat start collapsing. Ruby and this guy that she's been talking to, Charlie, find themselves buried alive in this destruction. That's the first 4 pages of this book. It's riveting from the get-go. And let me flip through to a spot here just to show you how this is. She does this in an interesting way. So each chapter, it's basically told in real time. You get the timestamp here. Also, some of the chapters are just like a quick thought or a list that she has in her head. It's basically in real time as she's trapped day after day after day. Not going to spoil the ending by any means, but we're up to day 9 towards the end here. So as she's trapped, as Charlie's trapped, there's flashbacks to how they got there, things that she's thinking about in life. Where would your mind go if you are trapped, buried alive after an earthquake for 9 days? What would you be thinking about? What would be your mental state? Marisa Reichardt, the author, she goes through all these things via Ruby and her mental state and what she's thinking about, what she's talking to Charlie about. So she's not completely isolated, but there is a lot of going inside Ruby's mind to see what she's thinking about. It's in quick bursts. Honestly, you get this out, it's a few hundred pages, but it's an hour and a half, couple hours. It's an afternoon read. It'll grab you from the get-go. It'll get you through a boring, possibly just wet and cold Cleveland afternoon in January very easily. Aftershocks, Marisa Reichardt. Last one up is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. Technically not a new book, right? Came out a few years ago. Well, the new one is actually the graphic novel adaptation of Long Way Down, which amazing standalone book. Definitely read that one if you haven't. It's you can read it in maybe 40 minutes. It's a novel in verse, so it's awesome. But we're talking right now about the graphic novel, which takes a little bit longer because there's amazing artwork that needs to be appreciated as well. I'll pop it up here over my shoulder. So Long Way Down, the graphic novel, features artwork by Danica Novgorodoff, which this is really specific and interesting art to me because she works almost exclusively in watercolors. So you get a watercolor illustrated graphic novel of a novel in verse. So it's pretty astounding if you flip through because it's amazing artwork that really captures what Jason Reynolds is doing in his book. Since it's written as a novel in verse, the original one, there's a certain kind of format to it, a certain kind of way to read it, a certain rhythm to the language as you read. Some of it's like song lyrics going down a page. So seeing it illustrated in a graphic novel format is perfect, quite frankly. If you're unfamiliar with Jason Reynolds, he has written a number of amazing young adult books and juvenile books as well. For the younger kids out there, he wrote the novel Ghost, which is the first book that kicked off the Track series. For young adult readers out there, it's the All American Boys. He did the young adult version of Stamped a few years ago, and obviously Long Way Down right before that. He's currently serving in the Library of Congress as the National Ambassador for Young People's Literature, which he was appointed to, I think, January 2020. So he's there for a few more years. So he's an amazing advocate, an amazing author. It's perfect position for him. Danica Novgorodoff, though, as the illustrator, she's done a lot of other graphic novel work, specifically the ones that I've read, The Undertaking of Lillian Chen and Refresh. So she does work, again, with watercolors. It's amazing work. It's highly visual and lends itself, I think, perfectly to adapting a novel in verse to a graphic novel. What is Long Way Down about? Well, Long Way Down, it's pretty simple. It's Will. His brother has been shot and killed. They live in a terrible neighborhood, lots of violence, lots of gangs popping up, horribly economic depressed neighborhood. His brother Sean is shot, it's dead, he's tragic, he feels this overwhelming sadness. But in his neighborhood, there are 3 rules, as the inside jacket explains to this one and in the original version of Long Way Down. Rule number 1 is crying, don't do it, no matter what. You're not allowed to. Number 2 is snitching, don't do it, no matter what. So already a lot of repressing emotions that should be coming out in a healthy way, not so according to these rules. And rule number 3 is revenge. Do it no matter what. So it sets up some very high stakes drama, and this is what Sean's brother Will is wrestling with. The entire book takes place in about 60 seconds. Yeah, it takes place in about a minute as he travels from the top floor, or not the top floor, but the floor where his apartment is, all the way down to the ground floor with a gun in order to go get revenge on the murders of his brother Sean. couldn't be more high-stakes drama. And it flashes back to the past, how they got there, his relationship with Sean, his relationship with other people, as these different ghosts, or are they, appear to him in the elevator and discuss whether or not he should be following the 3 rules of his neighborhood, whether he should be exacting revenge or not. As it says on the inside cover, bullets miss, you can get the wrong guy, and there's always someone else who knows to follow the rules. So if you do actually exact revenge, people that follow those rules are going to come and find you anyway. Again, it's a tragic story, but it's interesting. It actually has a lot of kind of hope and bonding as they do flashbacks, but also you can tell that Will is really struggling with, are these rules things I should be following or not? And I'm not going to spoil the end by any means, but it's a very riveting read. The graphic novel, especially if you want the original one as well, you could read both in one afternoon. Get them both. If you want to go to the links down below in this video, you can reserve any of the titles we were just talking about, or just, go exploring yourself. Find something great to read, find something new to read, challenge yourself, pick something at random to read, enter the winter reading challenge we've got going on over at westlakelibrary.org. And the more you read, the more chances you have to win the grand prize. Also, the more you read, the more you have a chance to find your next favorite book. So